Okay, so time has come to do something with this Fiesta I really didn't want to do. Yeah, it's time to do the timing belt. Yeah, so I'm doing the timing belt on this today, and this is the first time I've ever attempted one. So please don't treat this as a how-to video. This is just me having a go. The main video I'm following is from Alan Howard, and I'll include the link somewhere to that. But as engines go, I think this one's pretty simple to do. It really does need doing as well. I undid a couple of the top bolts on the cover and pulled this back just to have a look, and saw the Ford logo and just and the belt itself is cracking. So it's, yeah, this car's 2005 and it's covered 125,000 miles, so the price is still there. So yeah, this is the kit. I've got my belt, my water pump under there, and there's the tensioner. I'll be changing the auxiliary belt, and I changed the rocker cover gasket as well. Apparently it's prone to go in and dropping oil down into the spark plugs, so while I'm at it, may as well. And I've got my timing tool, and I'm going to use I haven't got an impact wrench, so I was going to treat myself to one, but I was interested in see how these work. This is a flywheel locking tool, so you pop the starter motor out and pop that tool in and lock the flywheel, so you can undo the crankshaft bolt, the crankshaft pulley bolt. I don't even know if this is a front or rear starter in this car. I'm guessing rear, just to make things awkward, but I'll come back to that. So first things first, I'm going to get this airbox off and the rocker cover. So someone's obviously been in here before, because that's got a cable tie on it rather than one of the metal clips. But then saying that, I think this is how you get to the air filter, so it's not surprising. Let's snip that off. I'm going to take out these two 10mm. Okay, it was a bit tougher than I thought it was going to be. There's 2 bolt sockets on the back of it. Fits into these holes, and you just got to wrestle it off. I got a frozen shoulder at the moment, so I haven't got a lot of strength in my left arm, so I wasn't expecting that one. But what I want to do now is open this up, partially because I've never seen one, and partially I want to see if I know someone's put a cone filter on this, but I'm betting the original air filter is still inside here. Okay, so with this bolts out, I can just open this up. And no, I dropped 2 bolts, never to be seen again. They did actually take it out, so I'm happy with that. I was expecting to find like a really old dirty air filter inside there. So with that off, going to look at the rocker cover. So just popping all the HT leads out. I think I'm going to have to remove it from the coil packet. So just for references, should go back as is, but it's 2, 3, 4, 1. So 2, 3, 4, 1. taking a look in it. Can't see any oil, but I can see some rust. Water's got in there at some point. Try and give that a clean before it all goes back together. But with that out, there's just some 8mm bolts going around the outside, so they're next. Okay, it was a bit of a battle, but it's off. Like I said, there was like 8mm bolts. These are all captive, they stay in there. And the pegs, the ball socket, whatever they're called, that the airbox fits onto, they're hiding 2 bolts as well. That one, these are 15mm, so we're going to do that and that won't come off altogether. This one popped off, so I could get to the 8mm underneath. And this one had a 10mm bolt holding this bracket on. So once you remove the 10mm, you could get to the 8mm underneath. And I had to literally give it a bit of a wiggle to get it off, you know, for an old tug. It was on there pretty tight. I was half expecting to find a way to sealant underneath. But gasket must have been doing the job. No mayonnaise, that was good to see. So with that off, what have we got next? Header tank's going to have to come off, so I'm going to have to put something underneath to catch the coolant. And then I need to support the engine so I can get that mount off. Okay, so I've pulled the header tank out of the way now. Literally just pulled it to one side. You can stay with there for now. So there was just one bolt there and it just lifted off this mount. And what I did then was pull the power steering headed out, that bung there, and it just lifted out, and then could just push the 2 of them to one side. And that gives me access to the engine mount. So before I touch this, I need to get the jack into the engine now to support that. And I've taken the wheel off ready to give me access. So yeah, I'll get a jack into here now and then I can take this mount off. So I started by taking the 3 bolts out to separate the engine mount, and then I removed this half of the mount from the body. The rest of this is part of the alternator bracket by the looks of it. So these are going to have to come off now, get those out of the way so I can get to the alternator. This didn't go quite to plan. One of the bolts snapped off at the back, so I'll worry about that later. I did find quite a bit of rust on here. I think with a clean and just get rid of the rust, neutralise it, I think I'll be fine. It hasn't gone through. I've given it a good old poke with a big screwdriver. So I think I'm catching that literally just in time. So get these off next and get this alternator off. So this pipe doesn't want to come off, so I'm not going to force it. So what I've got left is 2 15s here, and I think from the video I saw, you take these off. There's 1 bolt, 1 nut, and then there's a E-bit on the end of the stud, so that'll come off later and you can get the alternator out of the way. Okay, so I've got you supposed to slacken off that bolt down there, leave it in, just slacken him off, and then I was able to well, it's like an absolutely massive stud out of that side using the 8 socket, and that allows me to pull the alternator forward to that. So I think doing that, yeah, that gives you enough slack to get that auxiliary belt off. So I should be able to get a new one on back the same way, just using that slack. Brilliant. Yeah, that's definitely overdue. Okay, so what's left? So it's just a case of removing the rest of this timing cover now. This is actually a few days on from the last clip. I can't remember where I left off, but today I thought I'd go after this pulley on the water pump. Can I focus? Kind of. Okay, so these bolts are like incredibly tight. So I just used a 10mm spanner on these because there's not much room under there. And because they were so tight, I just stuck a thin screwdriver in there, locked 2 of the bolts while I did a third, and just kept going around like that. Seemed to do the trick. So I'm going to whiz those off next. So that's the water pump pulley off. And while I was at it, I took the timing belt cover off as well. There was a few hidden screws. Can't see very well from the top, so you have to go underneath. And the holes on this side, they fit on dowels as well, so just need a bit of a levering off with a screwdriver. Yeah, so like down by the crank pulley, those holes, those bolts are kind of hidden. But if you get underneath, you can get a better look at them. So that's off. I can go. So what we've got left. This bit of plastic's got to come off, but one of the bolts is behind the crank pulley, so I think that's got to come off next. So I think we've got to lock the engine next. That I'm going to remove that bolt on the back of the engine there, and I'm going to replace it with that pin. And then when I turn the crank around, it's going to go until it locks up against that pin, and then I should be able to use that bar on the end of those camshafts. So let's see if I got this right. Okay, so that pin's in now and it's just finger tight. So I'm going to turn the crank until it locks up against it. I think it already is. No, it's not. Okay. So, if I'm right now, yeah, those screws are now horizontal, so I can put the bar in there and lock the cams in. You can see they are horizontal, but those slots aren't in the middle, so they're a full 180 degrees out. So I presume, yeah, I think I'd better take that pin out, turn this over again, put the pin back in, and see where it goes from there. There we go, that's better. So what I did, I just popped the pin back out, turned around till it was almost 180 degrees, put the pin back in, and then turned the crank until it locked against the pin again. And now these just slot in there. I did buy an impact wrench today. Come home, all excited, didn't want to know. So yeah, I resorted to this method. I'll go to now and show you, but it's a bit windy, so I'm doing as much talking in the garage as possible. So yeah, I did this trick with the belt, and you do have to put a lot of pressure on it, and it's not without risk. So I managed to smash myself in the arm. But I'm going to go up there now and show you what I did. So again, underneath, I really don't know how much of this audio is going to be usable. Pull that out the way. You can see, nicked this idea off someone on YouTube. So you pull the belt around so it doubles back in itself. And if I can, I need a few more arms to this ideally. Oh no, the bolt's too sensitive. But as you tighten the bolt around and pull this pulley around, that belt tightens on itself, and then there's nowhere else for this pulley to go because it's snagged on the belt, and eventually gives, hopefully. So just to aid things, I just used the axle stand, and then I was able to get a few more sockets, to get a few more extensions together to get a bit of leverage and just put all my weight on it. So that bit's done, and now I'm going to go inside because it's too bloody windy. It's taking my time at the moment, but I'm back on the Fiesta and been dealing with some surface rust. I'm just thinking once, I know it's a bit of mission creep, but when am I likely to have this stripped down again? So I think the only thing left now is for this to come off. So I'm going to get these two bolts off, and I think I'm ready for the belt to come off. I've forgotten to take out this bracket, so that sits in front of this pulley, so the belt wouldn't have come off. So there was two bolts that when the alternator's in, they're behind the alternator. So you can see there wasn't a massive amount of room. It's one of the holes there, and the other one's hiding behind there somewhere. But with that out now, just got to take the tension off the tensioner and bolt that, and it should be ready for the belt to come out. Belt off with the tensioner. If you could see the, it's not pin, but a little arm comes out. That was over there. So if I pulled it up there, it took the tensioner, turned and took the tension off the belt. And then I had this little pin that came with the locking tools. So it just popped that in there to keep the tension, keep this where it is. And then I could take the belt off. And if you can see the belt, you can see it's original Ford. And if I get a guy, you can see it didn't have a lot of life left. Kind of surprised it's, well, I'm guessing it's the original belt. So if it is, if you think this is a 2005 car and it's done 125,000 miles. Yes. Okay, let's just say I'm glad I'm doing it now. Is to remove the water pump and the tensioner. So I think the water pumps, like there's a series of 8 mils around there. Not sure how many. And the tensioner's got a couple of 13s, I think. So get on to that one next. Forward, but that's the new water pump on, the new tensioner and the new belt. So I went with the gates. I'm confident it's right between the two pulleys. It's nice and taut by there. And I just made sure it's right in the middle of the two pulleys as well, so it's not going to go wandering. So in theory now, I just pull this pin out of this tensioner and I'll take up the slack. Please don't pinch my fingers. Okay, this may be a two-handed job. I'm going to turn the engine over a couple of revolutions and hopefully they'll just fit straight back in, and these camshafts will still line up with each other. Okay, it was a little tricky doing it like that, but you can see that locks in now. I've used the belt trick again to loop back in itself to hold that pulley to so I can tighten it up again. So please check for yourself, but the figures I had from the internet was 40 Newton meters and then turn it another 90 degrees. And I've done the cam pulleys up as well. They were 60 Newton meters. Again, please check for yourself. So I'm going to give this another couple of revolutions now, just to put my mind at ease that everything's good, and then I'm going to start putting everything back together. Just had to figure out what goes with it. Trying to ignore the fact it looks like some sort of like S&M gear. Yeah, we're not going to think about that. Okay. So just need to pick this old one out. Might have to get a plastic pry tool if I can find one. Let's see if I can pinch the end with some pliers. There we go. Now this literally just pushes in. Not difficult, just a bit fiddly. Okay, that looks good. And just run round and make sure it's all pressed in, and then this rocket cover can go back on. Some issues with this stretcher belt. So I've gone and bought these fitting tools. So these, as far as I understand, sit on the lip and it guides the belt round. So I'm going to get this set up now and see how much of this I can film, because I'm going to need 2 hands for a lot of it. Adjustment up there. So that's going to require a bit of back and forth. Now what I found was, because the belt's got a little bit of play, you can kind of guide the belt. So if you push there and then like rotate anti-clockwise, you will get the belt over a bit, and you might have to go clockwise, anti-clockwise, back and forth a little bit. So what I found was, you have to loop around the alternator, round the water pump, round the, well, with mine I've got the power steering pump in the front. Some of you will have the aircon there and the power steering in the back. But what I did was loop around there, and I was trying to get around there, and it just kept popping off either there or off the alternator. But I think it was my neighbour pointed out, if I bring this round here and then the outer pulley rather than round there, it was pushing less that way. So yeah, I used this thing, which wasn't as great as I put too much hope into this, but it did guide that onto there while I was concentrating on up here, because this was the mare. This really drove me nuts. It took me so many goes, but I found if I pushed it right over there, by the time this belt pulled it over, it wasn't slipping off. So yeah, it was a lot of trial and error, but almost there. So I've got a new overflow pipe, because this one just snapped to me. It must have just got brittle with age, because this one's nice and flexible. So I'm going to fit that now, fit this up, and then where's that bleed valve? Just about to see it, it's not focusing, but it's up in the corner of the radiator there. So fit this up into the dribbles out of there, and that should force all the air out. And then tighten that up, top this up to maximum, run that up to temperature, and then I think I'm just going to do that a couple of times. Just let it cool down, check the level, top it off if needed, run up to temperature again, and just do that again and see what happens. And just like everything else in this car, it's seized, so I didn't want to force it and end up snapping it, and probably have to get a new rad, and no thank you. So I just left the cap off and ran up the temperature with that off, and left the funnel in there so I could top it up as and when. as it was. It dropped ever so slightly, so I'm kind of happy it's all good. So what I'll do, I'll just keep an eye on that level, just about here, and it's not going to go on any big trips anytime soon, so I'll just keep an eye on it, and if it's purged off a bit and the level's dropped, I'll just top it up as and when. But I'm not going to do any more today because I thought I'd better check the oil, and there's just a tiny bit left in it, and I don't want to top it up because I want to do a full change, but that's not today. So for now, I'm going to call that done. And as a first time timing belt, it wasn't that bad. I don't think I ever want to do it again, but I was happy to try it. This car needs one, but that's going to the garage. So yeah, as I said, please don't treat this as a how-to. This is just how I did it. And I will include a link somewhere below to the video that I used to refer to. So yeah.